Well, this idea has been around for a while, but today was the first time I have heard it referred to as text message journalism. At least that's what CNN Money called it. They were reporting on a new service available from the New York Times, and with this service, you can sign up to get text messages via Facebook Messenger from Sam Manchester, who's a deputy sports editor at the New York Times. He's down in Rio for the Olympic Games and is sending, about 4 or 5 messages per day. These aren't push notifications. They're not the kind of thing that you usually see on your phone. They provide some insight, the same kind of insight you might get from a knowledgeable friend who's at the games sending you messages. They're behind the scenes and insights into some of the events and activities going on at the Olympics. Now, Andrew Phelps is the New York Times Director of Personalization. There's a title I think we should pay attention to. How long will it be before marketing departments and PR departments have directors of personalization? He makes the point that you can respond to these messages. You won't necessarily hear back from Sam. You might, but you won't necessarily. But they can take the information that they glean from the responses that you sent in order to more personalize the messages that you receive. I learned about the New York Times service just one day after Lionel Menchaca pinged me on Facebook to alert me to the fact that there is now a Facebook Messenger service connected to the White House. If you want to send a message to President Obama, you can go to the White House official page on Facebook, tap message, and send that message. You'll get some replies asking for information about you. You can do this using the Messenger app on your phone as well. This is the beauty of Messenger, right, is that it works on your phone as well as on Facebook. But this is trying to connect people more directly with the president. Presumably the next president would be able to use the same technology in order to send your queries. And the president is reading 10 of these a night. So another way to have a voice in your dealings with the government. But let's get back to the New York Times experiment, which, if it's successful, will lead to more of these around big events, sporting events like the Super Bowl, political events like Election Day. And Phelps, the director of personalization, said that they were inspired at the New York Times by a service I've been subscribing to for a while called Purple. Now, when I subscribed to Purple, it was over SMS text messaging, but they have shut that down and are starting to roll it out on Facebook Messenger. Now, Purple was started by David Heeman, who is an app developer. He was the chief product officer at an app development company, and Rebecca Harris, who graduated with a master's degree in entrepreneurial journalism from the journalism department at City University of New York. And what this does, once you subscribe, is they send you at least one message a day that catches you up on the election. And again, these are conversational. They include emojis, just like Sam Manchester's do for the New York Times. And they include magic words or keywords. These are capitalized words, and if you send those words back, Purple will send you more information on that topic. So this is how you get deeper and deeper relevance with these messages. You get the information on the stuff that you're interested in, and you don't have to see the stuff that you're not interested in. By switching over to Facebook Messenger, they're able to include buttons. So rather than have to type the magic words appear in buttons underneath the message, and you just tap the one that you're interested in, and it feeds you back the additional information. Now, you can respond directly with your own thoughts and become part of a larger conversation if you want to participate in it. Purple and the New York Times experiment and the White House opening up to Facebook messaging, these were all introduced because they recognize a larger trend. The trend is toward messaging apps and away from social networking apps. A couple of charts I can share with you. One shows that text messaging is right up there with email as the most popular application, the most popular activity on smartphones. It's a good 14 points ahead of the next most popular activity, which is searching. And a little lower than that, you will find engaging in social networks. The other chart shows where most of the active active users are spending their time, and the top messaging apps are definitely outpacing the top social networks. So this is a real trend. Phelps referred to it as the messaging app becoming the new home screen for people on smartphones, and this is a trend that I think we need to pay attention to. Now remember, CNN Money referred to this as text message journalism. A lot of brands, a lot of companies have gotten into brand journalism. This is the idea that you're going to get journalists or people with journalistic training. And by the way, there are plenty of journalists on the street and available right now because newsrooms have been cutting back and reducing the size of their staff. So you can get journalists to do brand journalism for your company on the cheap these days. But brand journalism is covering the organization the way a journalist would rather than the way a marketer would. Some great examples of this come from Cisco Systems with The Network, which used to be the newsroom. In addition to press releases, the network includes stories like the ones that you see here. Another one is HealthBeat, a portal for content from Spectrum Health, and they do great work. They have a photojournalist, they have people writing stories the way journalists would approach them, about patient experiences, about staff, about innovations in medicine and healthcare. If we want to stay current, we're going to have to add text message journalism to the mix. And this isn't a matter of turning on the fire hose for people who subscribe and sending them everything the organization does. Remember, this is all about relevance. I don't want every sports story being covered by the New York Times. I just want Sam Manchester's insights into the Olympic Games because he's down there in Rio. So we need to think about this the same way when we're approaching text message brand journalism. What specific topics might our audiences be interested in? Might our publics be interested in? Cisco, for example, could set up a text message journalism feed that deals just with the impact of digitization and networking on impoverished populations and third world countries. It's something that they report on from time to time. HealthBeat could set one up just for cancer or just for children's health. This is, I think, the direction that we need to start going in as messaging becomes the dominant activity on phone. We've already seen some journalism move into messaging. Snapchat Discover is a great example, with a lot of journalistic entities sharing short snaps as a means of conveying information about what they're reporting on that particular day. So we need to start thinking about this in terms of the apps that people are using. Snapchat is definitely a dominant one, but Messenger is right up there with them. So is WhatsApp, so is Kik, which has its own bot shop. You could conceivably do that. I'm starting to play around with a service called FlowXO, where you can set up bots for different purposes. And what's nice about it is you set the bot up once and it works on multiple platforms: SMS, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Kik, and the like. So you don't have to have multiple bots out there. People can subscribe using the service that they use, and it will tap into the same set of messages that you have. So that's it for this week. I hope you give some serious thought to this idea of text message journalism, text message brand journalism. I'll be back next week with another story from my feeds that warrants deeper discussion than I'm able to do in my Friday wrap, the news summary I produce every Friday on the web and by email. Talk to you next week.